Tigers and Yankees have provided plenty of excitement in the first two games in the series. On Thursday night, the Tigers scored 3 in the ninth for a comeback win. Last night, the Yankees were fired up. They recorded a comeback win of their own. We've had ejections, we've had emotion, we've had just about everything in this series. Today, it's the final game. We welcome you to Yankee Stadium of the Bronx. It's the Yankees and the Detroit Tigers. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to Tigers baseball along with Yankees baseball today. Welcome to those of you watching on FS1 and Fox Sports Detroit as well. Mario and Pember, Rod Allen. We are glad to have you with us here for the third in this series. And Rod, I don't know what more we can see in the series. The first two have been extremely exciting. Two well-played games. Well,
a lot of home runs hit in the first two games of the series, 12 to be exact. But the funny thing about that is the Yankees, they lead the world in home runs with 221, and the Tigers have hit the fewest. But they've matched each other with 6 homers in the series. More to come today.
All right, now since Miguel Cabrera went down with an injury for the Tigers, really Nicholas Castellanos has been the centerpiece of the Tigers offense, and he pretty much has been their most consistent player.
You know, Nicholas Castellanos is the leader of this group. He's just 26 years old, but with Victor Martinez on the back nine of his career, it's Nicholas Castellanos that's taken on a leadership role. You see his numbers. They lead by example. 19 homers, 73 driven in. He drives the ball to all fields. And really, Nicholas Castellanos has been hitting since he came to the big leagues. Just 26 years old, on the verge of having another really good offensive season.
All right, now the Yankees have had their share of injuries, to be sure. Aaron Judge is out there for it. Giancarlo Stanton has really had to carry a lot of the mail this year, and Stanton's having a great year.
He's just an absolute beast. He is playing in his 85th straight game here today because they've had so many injuries. But when you take a look at his overall data, as far as the home runs are concerned, this guy just gets it done. He already has 33 of those, 10 of those the opposite ways, driven in 84. He leads the Yankees in just about every offensive category. And just the other day, right here at the new Yankee Stadium, he hit his 300th career home run. He's the 5th fastest player to accomplish that in Major League history. Last year's MVP in the National League. Should be a really good matchup here today on Saturday afternoon.
All right, now the Yankees had plenty of veteran players in their lineup, but they have 2 dynamic rookies that have showed out what they can do in this series as well. Torres and Gardenhire, they're really good.
In all my years in professional baseball, I've never seen this kind of talent in Major League Baseball. There are very talented young players, and the Yankees have a couple of those. Take a look at Gardenhire, probably will be the Rookie of the Year in the American League with the 23 homers and the 75 driven in, and he's also batting nearly 300. Gleyber Torres, he's spectacular as well. He's playing shortstop these days because Didi Gregorius is on the disabled list, but a couple of dynamic rookies to watch here today.
All right, Yankees are also getting a little bit healthier. Gary Sanchez back in the lineup today for Aaron Boone. Coming up, the New York Yankees really gearing up for the stretch run in September. They've added another key piece. Andrew McCutchen joins the Yanks today. He's batting leadoff. Tigers-Yankees coming up next. Visit Kroger.com for great deals, digital coupons, and more. Comerica Bank, raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. And by Chrysler, hurry in and get a great deal at the Chrysler Labor Day sales event.
To see the news and to hear it that I was going to be a Yankee, it's kind of a surreal feeling because, of course, you know, I feel like a lot of baseball players want to at least throw the pinstripes on for who knows how long, just to say you did it. You know, it'd be a really surreal feeling. So to actually for it to come to fruition is it's pretty surreal. Like it's like the only word I can think of right now. But yeah, we were excited. Me and my family, me and my wife, we're really excited about it, and you know, we're ready to get going.
Earlier today, the words of Andrew McCutchen, who joins the Yankees for the stretch run. Glad to have you with us here from Yankee Stadium, where it's a gorgeous afternoon for baseball, 79 degrees. Tigers and Yanks in Game 3 in this series. Tigers starting lineup today presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. And for Ron Gardenhire this afternoon, Mikey Matuk will lead things off. He'll play in left field, followed by Jim Adduci and Nicholas Castellanos. Victor Martinez batting cleanup. Nico Goodrum having a good rookie year at third base. Then Rodriguez, Griner, Jones, and the rookie Dawel Lugo rounding it out for the Tigers. And they will face the right-handed offerings of Masahiro Tanaka, presented by MGM Grand Detroit.
In 22 starts this year, Tanaka having a very good year, 9-5 with a sub-4 ERA. He doesn't use his fastball as frequently as he has in the past. He's mostly slider these days, and the split-fingered fastball, and then that four-seam fastball. So we'll watch for that today. Tanaka, 128 strikeouts, just 31 walks this year. So he's around the plate. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment behind Tanaka in this afternoon's game. Gardner in left, Hicks in center field. McCutchen just acquired from the Giants. He's out in right field. Up the middle, they have Walker. They also have Torres. Andujar on the corners with Voit. And Gary Sanchez right off the disabled list in the starting lineup as well.
And there's Andrew McCutchen. He is getting to know his new surroundings now. Right field here in Yankee Stadium as the Yanks get some help with the injury to Aaron Judge. He has been out of the lineup for a while. Here we go. Mikey Matuk will lead things off for the Tigers. Matuk, Adduci, and Castellanos. And the first pitch from Tanaka is popped up foul. Down the third base line and back into the seats.
Yeah, the right field that Andrew McCutchen will patrol here for the Yankees is much bigger than where he was playing at AT&T Park in San Francisco. They've got a big right field. And Yankee Stadium has that short portion right, just 314.
Oh, 1 on Matuk, batting .218 on the year with 5 home runs, all here in the month of August. We have turned the calendar now to September. And Matuk looks at a strike and the count goes 0-2.
Tanaka will go anywhere from 89 to 94 with his fastball. Mostly when he's throwing that four-seam fastball, he's throwing it at the top of the strike zone. But in this count, he really likes that split-fingered fastball. It's a devastating strikeout pitch for him.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Matuk. I think with the 4 o'clock start here today, Rod, the shadows at some point will become an issue here.
Absolutely.
Home plate right now just about covered by the shade. As the afternoon progresses, it will be. Now the 1-2 bouncing ball, third base side. It gets through, knocked down by Torres, but no play. That'll be an infield hit for Matuk. By the way, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs in this game, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow, and you'll get a free small order of curly fries.
And the Tigers have a few guys in their starting lineup that can run the bases, a few guys that can steal a base, and Matuk would be one of those. But you've got to get a great jump with Tanaka on the mound. He does not yield many stolen bases, and Sanchez behind the plate has a very strong throwing arm.
Here is Jim Adduci. Nub toward third base. They'll let it roll. It's going to stay fair. Sanchez's throw not in time. That'll be an infield hit for Jim Adducci, and the Tigers have 2 men on quickly here.
Nice communication here between Sanchez and Tanaka, the pitcher. He's called off by Sanchez. Sanchez wheels and throws, but throws late to Voit, the first baseman.
That'll bring up Nicholas Castellanos with nobody out.
The Detroit Tigers have come into Yankee Stadium and played with a tremendous amount of confidence the last couple of days, and a lot of energy too.
Comeback win in game 1 on Thursday. They couldn't hold on last night. The Yankees answered late, but 2 very competitive and entertaining games in the first 2. Castellanos couldn't hold up, 0-1. Leadoff single by Matuk, infield hit for Adducci. Castellanos 2 out of 9 in the series, 150 hits this year. He has been the Tigers' leader offensively all season long. Now Tanaka's 0-1. Lined and over the head of the shortstop Torres. Matuk had to retreat to second, and he will finally get to third. He held up and then broke the wrong way, and then had to scamper to third base. 3 straight hits for the Tigers.
And Matuk must have thought that Gleyber Torres had a shot at catching that baseball, so he scampered back to the bag, and then he found out that ball was a base hit. Still able to get over to third base to make sure that Nicholas Castellanos was credited with a base hit.
Whoops. Well, Mikey laughing about it a little bit right now. So that'll set the stage now for Victor Martinez, who had a huge game in game 1, couple of homers, including one in the 9th inning, which tied the game up. And Martinez looks at strike 1 in the outer edge.
And the Yankees defensively not shifting on Victor the way that most teams do, and with the bases loaded, and they have left Gleyber Torres on the left side of the infield, and Victor very good at handling the bat and can shoot that hole on the left side and pretty much when he wants to.
Tanaka trying to pitch out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam. Wave and a miss, 0-2 on Martinez. Here's the Bernstein advantage when you look at the numbers that Victor has put up against the Yankees this season. Pretty impressive. 6 RBIs, 8 for 17. Now Tanaka will step off. Martinez, a 5-time All-Star, calling it quits at the end of this season. It's been a very long and very productive career for Martinez.
Tanaka taking a long time in between pitches here to Victor Martinez.
High and away, 1-2. Tanaka has allowed 2 earned runs or fewer in 6 of his last 8, so he's been in a pretty good stretch. A 2.88 ERA over his last 8 games.
One of Tanaka's issues this year has been the long ball. In 22 starts this year, he has given up 23 homers.
Low and away, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last year he allowed 35 home runs, most in the American League, so that really has been an issue. Nico Goodrum waiting on deck for the Tigers. Great opportunity here for the Tigers to score first. They're loaded up with nobody out.
And Tanaka's trying to get the ground ball. He knows that Victor Martinez does not run well and hits into quite a few double plays. And that's exactly what he's trying to accomplish here. He's trying to get Victor Martinez to hit something into the ground.
Lifted in the air toward left field, shallow. Gardner is on the run. Runner will tag. Matuk will try and score. Throw to the plate, bouncing in. It'll be a sac fly and an RBI for Victor Martinez.
And professional at bat by the 39-year-old designated hitter. He fell behind Tanaka, no balls and 2 strikes, and worked the count back to 2-2 and flipped something the opposite way. One of the things the Tigers will do on Gardner, the left fielder, they will run on him. Out of all the outfielders there, Hicks and McCutchen, he has the poorest arm in the outfield.
Well, you know, Martinez would at least put the ball in play. In 21 plate appearances with them loaded this year, he had not struck out once. And he gets the job done there, driving in Matuk. Here is Nico Goodrum. He'll look at a strike, 0-1.
Tanaka these days will throw his slider about 34% of the time. And when not throwing that slider, he goes to his split-fingered fastball. That's the pitch that he gets a lot of strikeouts on. Then he goes to his four-seam fastball. Usually he throws that pitch up top, but he's one of those guys that does not throw a lot of fastballs.
Oh, 0-2 on Goodrum. Tigers now have scored first in the first 3 games in this series. And they're looking for more. Goodrum with power. He's homered twice in the series, has 15 long balls this year. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Goodrum is out of there. 2 gone. First strikeout for Tanaka.
And whenever there's runners in scoring position, if you're the Detroit Tigers, you can pretty much book that you're going to get either the slider or the splitter. In this case, it's the split-fingered fastball at 89 miles an hour to finish off the rookie Nico Goodrum.
And chatting with Aaron Boone before the game today, he certainly mentioned that if Tanaka has that splitter working early, it could be a good day, and he'll start to pile up some strikeouts. That was his first of the day. Ronnie Rodriguez will step in. Here's the first-year skipper of the Yankees.
His lineup got a whole lot better today, didn't it? With Gary Sanchez behind the plate and the addition of Andrew McCutchen, the former MVP of the Pittsburgh Pirates a few years ago.
Still waiting on Didi Gregorius to return to the lineup.
They say he's doing some running and he took some batting practice today. They're hoping to get Didi back on Monday.
In there, a strike called on Rodriguez. .85-50 is the record for the first-year skipper of the Yankees. Now Tanaka with the 1-1. In the air to left field. Gardner coming in. He'll make the catch. That'll end the inning. Tigers get a run. We'll head to the bottom of the first. The Tigers out to an early lead over the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the first inning, and Daniel Norris on the mound for the Tigers today, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Norris pitching in the majors for the first time since April 29th when he went on the disabled list with a groin injury. He had surgery on that groin. He's made a few rehab starts in the minors, and now he's back in the big leagues.
Andrew McCutchen will take his first at bat as a Yankee.
Daniel has a fastball that will go anywhere from 89 to 93. That's the four-seam fastball. He's got slider, curve, and a changeup, all part of his four-pitch mix.
McCutchen just joining the Yankees from the Giants in a trade consummated yesterday. They also acquired a Danny Echeverria to give them some infield depth as well. So the Yankees going all out here as September has arrived. In there, a strike called on McCutchen, 1-2.
And McCutchen had an OPS of over 800 against left-handers in batting leadoff when he was in San Francisco this year.
Got him, strike three. Daniel Norris catches McCutchen looking, one gone. Here's the rest of the Yankees starting lineup. You saw McCutchen. It's presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Giancarlo Stanton will bat second, then Aaron Hicks, Miguel Andujar, the fine rookie, batting cleanup. Sanchez back in the lineup. Gleyber Torres. You've got Voit, Walker, and Gardner rounding it out for the Yanks. Stanton 2 nights ago whistled one into the seats in right field for his 300th career home run. 84 RBIs on the year. DHing again today for the Yankees.
Of Stanton's 33 home runs this year, 12 have come against left-handers, and he's hitting .336 against left-handed pitching. So he's been seeing the ball awfully well against southpaws this season.
That'll dart low and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Giancarlo Stanton.
And last year's most valuable player in the National League.
Stanton last year 59 home runs. Got him, strike three. Stanton knew it. He walks out of the batter's box. And Daniel Norris in his first start back with a couple of punch outs.
McLaren Health brings you the Detroit Tigers starting defense. Left to right they go Matuk, Jones, and Castellanos. Third to first reads this way: Goodrum, Rodriguez, Lugo, Adduci, and Grayson Griner, the battery mate of Daniel Norris this afternoon.
Nico Goodrum has been around all over the place in the Tigers defensive alignment this year, starting at third today.
Nico Goodrum probably has been the Tigers' most valuable player overall, just because of what he brings to the dance every single day. He can play third, short, second, first, left, right, doing a wonderful job with the bat as a rookie. He's stolen quite a few bases. He was a nice find for the Detroit Tigers.
Drill to center field. Jacoby Jones going back to the warning track to make the catch, and a clean 1-2-3 inning for Daniel Norris in the first. For baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Last night, the Giants' Aramis Garcia, a solo home run to left center field. His first career home run, his first hit. His family was ecstatic. In the dugout, well, they gave him the silent treatment and then soon doused him with sunflower seeds. That's how it goes for rookies. But welcome to the big leagues. An exciting moment for that young man. Grayson Greiner will lead things on for the Tigers here in the second. Greiner, Jones, and Lugo, the bottom three facing Tanaka. Bouncing ball to short, ranging left is Torres. Greiner is out, one away. Hey, stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll be selecting the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers player of the game, presented by McDonald's. Here is Jacoby Jones. Tanaka did well to pitch out of that bases loaded, nobody out jam in the first. Tigers able to get a run on the sac fly by Martinez. Jones hitting .204. Hammers this one to left field. Gardenhire coming in. He's been busy already. 2 gone. Great day for baseball here in the Bronx, Rod. You got a big crowd and two teams that have played a couple of competitive games.
Yeah, Tigers have come into Yankee Stadium playing with a lot of energy after not playing so well at the beginning of the road trip in Kansas City. They've hit 6 home runs here at the new Yankee Stadium in the first 2 days, and Detroit Tigers are not known for their power this season.
In there a strike.
However, the Yankees are, and they've hit a world-leading 221 round trippers this season already.
Slice to right field. McCutchen is on the run. He'll get there in the gap. And a 1-2-3 inning for Masahiro Tanaka. When we come back, quick chat with Aaron Boone. Aaron, as we look towards September, a couple of new pieces now. McCutchen, Echeverria joined yesterday. You guys are kind of gearing up for the stretch run.
Yeah, really excited to add Kutch to the mix. Obviously leading off for us today. Echeverria gives us some protection, especially while Didi's down, just as a premium defender, and getting Gary Sanchez back from the disabled list today as well. So feels like a lot of the troops are starting to work their way back.
Aaron, Rod Allen here. For those of us who don't get a chance to watch your team play every day, talk about Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres at the shortstop third base position. How special are they?
Yeah, I mean, for 2 rookies to come in and have the true impact that they've had, you know, we're in this position and have the record we do. In large part, they're a big part of this. They've played beyond their years. They've come up and had an impact. They've had the ability to adjust when they've gone through little funks, and we're not in this good position if it's not for those guys.
All right, Aaron, thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Go to the bottom of the second, joined now by Aaron Boone, the skipper of the Yankees. And Aaron, as we look towards September, a couple of new pieces now. McCutchen, Echeverria joined yesterday. You guys are kind of gearing up for the stretch run.
Yeah, really excited to add Kutch to the mix. Obviously, leading off for us today. Echeverria gives us some protection, especially while Didi's down, just as a premium defender, and getting Gary Sanchez back from the disabled list today as well. So, feels like a lot of the troops are starting to work their way back.
Aaron, Rod Allen here. For those of us who don't get a chance to watch your team play every day, talk about Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres at the shortstop third base position. How special are they?
Yeah, I mean, for two rookies to come in and have the true impact that they've had, you know, we're in this position and have the record we do. In large part, they're a big part of this. They've played beyond their years. They've come up and had an impact. They've had the ability to adjust when they've gone through little funks, and we're not in this good position if it's not for those guys.
All right, Aaron, thanks very much. And the Tigers and Yankees traveling now to the bottom of the second with Miguel Andujar, one of those youngsters that Aaron was talking about. What a season he has had. 23 home runs on the year for Andujar.
Not only that, but he's batting nearly 300. And the reason he's batting nearly 300, he's not pull happy. Andujar will take the ball foul line to foul line. He'll work down the right field line. He'll go the left field line. If you make a mistake, he'll obviously hit it out of the park.
You know, I saw a quote in the papers a couple of days ago from Aaron Boone talking about Miguel Andujar, and he said that he really has a versatile swing, which means, I guess in essence, that he has the ability to adjust to what pitchers are doing to him.
A lot of confidence goes into having those kinds of adjustments and making them on the fly.
High fly ball, right field, playable for Castellanos. Andujar is out, one away.
And something else regarding Andujar and the shortstop Gleyber Torres. I mean, these guys are barely 21, 22 years old, and they're starring in the big leagues, not just performing. Both are stars in the majors.
They have made their mark, to be sure. Now Gary Sanchez will step in, gets a round of applause here from the Yankees faithful.
Well, last time they saw Gary Sanchez, they weren't cheering him, they were booing him.
They weren't indeed. There was an incident where he didn't run a ground ball out, and we learned that he had a groin problem, which landed him on the DL. But the one thing, Rod, people are saying in the Yankees clubhouse about Sanchez is he is in great shape.
Yeah, he does look good. When we saw him earlier this year, it did look like he was a little bit heavier, but when you spend as much time on the disabled list as he has, and you also go down to Florida and you get some work down in Tampa, you're going to lose a few pounds.
That Florida heat will do that to you. 1-1 on Sanchez. 14 home runs this year. Grounded toward third, deep behind the bag for Goodrum. Throw is high and not in time. He pulled Adduci off the bag, and Adduci thought he tagged him. That'll be the first base runner of the game for the Yankees. If it stands, the Tigers want to look at it.
Yeah, plenty of time for Nico Goodrum. And the ball was hit rather sharply down to third base, but he threw high. Adduci did the best that he could to elevate and come down on the bag and apply the tag. But the initial call was a safe call.
Paul Nart wants to know if they want to challenge, and the Tigers are going to challenge this play. Much to the chagrin of the crowd here at Yankee Stadium. Here's the crew chief, Paul Nart.
That's why you run the balls out. You just never know. Routine ground ball to third base. Sanchez does not have a lot of speed, but you run through the bag. You never know when it's going to be a bad throw, and you might be called safe.
This really turned into a bang-bang play at first base, but the Tigers apparently saw enough on their replays to challenge here. It's a really good play by Adduci to lead the bag and then come down with the swipe tag.
Yeah, the Detroit Tigers this year have used a lot of different first basemen. Miguel Cabrera, they're very talented and future Hall of Fame first baseman, landed on the disabled list really early this year and is lost for the season. So they've had to shuffle a lot of bodies at first base, and a lot of those guys have never played first base before.
And the Tigers are going to win the challenge. Out at first base is Sanchez. So that'll save Goodrum an error. He can thank Adduci for that play. 2 gone. Tigers rolling the dice a little bit with an early challenge here in the second, but it pays off. Here's Gleyber Torres.
And Gleyber Torres, another outstanding rookie, 21 home runs and 62 driven in. Playing shortstop these days with Didi Gregorius on the disabled list. Here's probably what they saw in, well, down the street.
Down the street's right.
We're in New York.
We're so used to saying that.
Yeah.
Popped up first base side, and Ducey on the run, and he can't get there.
We were talking to Aaron Boone in his office before the game, and we were asking him about Gleyber Torres and his skill set defensively. Obviously, from an offensive standpoint, the numbers speak for themselves, but he mentioned his name in the same breath as Javier Baez of the Chicago Cubs. Not the same kind of speed, but he does have that same kind of flash and that lethal first quick step the same way that Baez has of the Chicago Cubs. And he also said he has that very fast hands where he can make that really good tag like Javier does.
Very dynamic player, to be sure. And when you couple Torres with Andujar, it's a dynamic duo. I would say Torres, though, probably ahead defensively, wouldn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
Here is Chevrolet's most dependable player, most homers by rookies prior to their 22nd birthday. Look at the guys that Gleyber Torres is on the list with.
Well, he's keeping some pretty good company anytime you get on the list with Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio.
Got him, strike 3, and Daniel Norris with 3 early strikeouts in this game. 6 up, 6 down against the Yankees. It'll help, though, from Jim Ducey at first base. Baseball, we recognize Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and players, coaches, umpires, grounds crew all wearing gold ribbon decals and wristbands today. Major League Baseball, another initiative to try and stamp out childhood cancer and Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Tigers have a 1-0 lead as we go to the top of the third. Tanaka back to the hill. Mikey Matuk singled to start the game and has scored the game's only run to this point.
And nice little slider there by Tanaka. And more often than not, if he falls behind 1-0, he's not going to throw you a fastball. He's going to throw you that slider. That slider is the pitch that he commands the best these days.
In the air to left field. Gardner camps under this one, and Matuk is out. One gone in the Tigers' third. Follow the race to postseason on MLB.tv for $25.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout, other restrictions apply. Go to MLB.tv to take advantage of this limited time offer. Here is Jim Adduci.
Tanaka outstanding with the first pitch strikes. He is 8 of 11 so far in the first 3 frames. And most of the contact against Tanaka has been soft contact, even though the Tigers have 3 hits on the board.
You know, we're looking at the Yankees, Ryan, where they stand in the American League East, and they're still chasing the Red Sox. But they've added Jay Happ and Lance Lynn. They still have Tanaka and, of course, Severino as their ace. Do they have enough starting pitching, do you think?
Well, if they do not have enough starting pitching, they can make it up with their bullpen, in my opinion. And they're one of those teams that could go out and if your starter only gives you 3 or 4 innings for whatever reason, I mean, they could go to that bullpen, which is lethal, and they can get through a game. There's no doubt about that. They've got some wonderful pieces in the bullpen.
A huge advantage once the postseason rolls around. Bullpens become so much more important. And Adduci waves and misses, and Tanaka has another strikeout.
Aaron Boone told us today that Tanaka was having a very good season. His only blemish is the fact that he does give up quite a few homers, but most of his homers are solo shots. And there's a 93-mile-per-hour fastball right by Adduci. The previous pitch was that splitter at 82, so he continues to change speeds and eye levels so far today. Another first pitch strike.
Tanaka gave up a single to Castellanos in the first. Tigers loaded him up with nobody out, scored 1. Tanaka was on a bit of a roll earlier this year, had a 21 1/3 scoreless inning streak. That was from mid-July to the early part of August. Came in with a 3.97 ERA overall. High and away. 2-1. Low ball 3-1 now on Nicholas Castellanos.
I don't think Tanaka really gets the credit he deserves for being a really good pitcher. 61-33, and with an ERA right around 3.5, and since he's been in a Yankee uniform. 61 victories. That's nearly 30 games over 500.
I would agree. Very consistent along the way, but he's walked Castellanos here now with 2 outs. First walk of the ball game for Masahiro Tanaka. He also spent, of course, 7 years in Japan pitching professionally and was 99-35 in Japan before coming stateside.
With a lot of strikeouts.
So really all he's done is won. He will face Victor Martinez now with 2 outs. Ball 1 to Martinez. Responsible for the game's only run, a sacrifice fly in the first inning, plated Mikey Matuk.
And Victor Martinez, a veteran hitter. A lot of at-bats in the big leagues. And he'll be looking for something that he can turn on right here, something that he can hit into those right field seats. That very short porch of 314 is awfully inviting for left-handed batters and right-handers for that matter. Time now for StatCast AI, powered by AWS. Victor Martinez, when hitting the ball on the ground, you could tell that he hits a lot of balls on the right side. That's why they've got him bunched on the right side of the diamond. Neil Walker, the second baseman, and the shortstop, Gleyber Torres, both playing on the grass.
This has become part of life for Martinez the last few years. This is how all the defenses will play him based on the numbers, and he's had a boatload of hits taken away over the last couple of years. He'll look at a strike now, 2-1.
Surprisingly, Victor came into the game today batting a combined .252, but batting over .260 when they shift on him. Victor's gotten quite a few base hits the opposite way.
Now Tanaka's 2-1 pitch. High fly ball down the right field line. That is Walker, the second baseman, going over and hauling it in right up against the gate. Inning is over. No runs, a walk, one left. When we come back, Ron Gardenhire was ejected last night. We'll talk to the Tiger skipper today. At Yankee Stadium, 1-0 in favor of the Tigers, joined by Tigers manager Ron Gardenhire. And Ron, so far so good for Daniel Norris. I know it's important not only for the organization but for Daniel to be able to come out and get back on the mound in September.
Yeah, you know what? It's nice to see him here. He's worked really hard to get back. And, you know, he's throwing the ball good. The ball's coming out of his hand. He's using all of his pitches. And let's just see how he continues here.
Hey, Ron, Rod here. How impressed have you been with the young energy that your team has had and all the energy they played with in the first two games of this series?
Well, you know what? We've played like that all year, you know, getting after it. This atmosphere here is really good. There's a lot of people here, and this club's in a big race. So these guys have come up and stepped up, and we've played two really good games here after, you know, a rough start down in Kansas City.
And our thanks to Ron Gardenhire, and they really have, Ron. I mean, when you look at this ball club, a lot of one-run games, a lot of two-run games. They have been very competitive, despite the fact they're still very, very young.
I think Ron Gardenhire and his staff have had a lot to do with that. The fact that Ron Gardenhire is a veteran manager.
Meanwhile, Daniel Norris putting on a show here early on, his 4th strikeout already.
And Ron Gardenhire, when he was managing the Minnesota Twins for 13 years, he had rosters like the Tigers have given him this season, by and large, a lot of very young rosters with very low payrolls, but he's always been able to get the best out of all of his teams, and that's why Al Avila, the general manager, wanted him to manage this Tigers group.
Here is Neil Walker now with 1 out.
Daniel Norris was talking yesterday and said the velocity with his fastball has not come back to 95. When they acquired him in 2015 of July from the Toronto Blue Jays, and Daniel was a left-hander that touched 95 every now and then 96, but that velocity really hasn't been there the last couple of years. But he says he can still pitch with 91, 92, and he's showing that this afternoon.
Line to center field, Jacoby Jones to make the play. 2 gone now. Hey, as you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the whole true moment later in today's game. You know, Norris said earlier that, you know, he had the groin issues last year and he was concentrating more on the pain that was causing than actually making pitches. And now that that pain is gone following the surgery this year, he's kind of throwing free and easy, and he's back to just trying to get outs and not worry about anything else. Brett Gardner will stand in.
You watch Norris on the mound before he gets the sign. He kind of takes his hand in the glove and kind of motions down a couple of times. What he's doing is he's making sure that he keeps that front shoulder closed. It's one of the issues that Norris has had in the past, that he would open up prematurely in that fastball to the right-handers with tail on him. But every now he just takes that, pulls it down. He wants to make sure that shoulder stays closed.
He's almost mimicking what a batter would do.
That's right.
In the batter's box.
That's right.
A little bit high, 1-2 the count.
He's awfully talented, and you asked a great question of Ron Gardenhire, how important it is for Norris the final month of the season. Well, it's really important, and to leave with a really good taste in your mouth, and more importantly, healthy.
Got him, strike 3, and the roll continues for Daniel Norris. He has struck out 5 of the first 9 Yankees. run. They got a run in the first inning, and so far it is held up. It'll be Nico Goodrum coming to the plate here in the fourth inning for the Tigers. Goodrum, Rodriguez, and Griner. A strikeout victim in the first inning. Tanaka has fanned a couple, walked one. He'll shoot that ball to right field, base hit. Out of the reach of a diving Neil Walker.
And first pitch breaking ball thrown by Tanaka. And it was ripped right past the diving Neil Walker. Walker has started games at second base and right field in the series. He's also played some third base. Walker plays all over the place these days.
That'll bring him Ronnie Rodriguez.
At least Andrew McCutchen knew somebody when he got to New York. He and Neil Walker, they played about 6 years together in Pittsburgh. As a matter of fact, they made their debuts together back in 2009.
Yeah, two longtime Pirates.
I think that's pretty much when Pittsburgh really started to sell off some of their pieces a couple of years ago when they let Walker go.
McCutchen was dealt in the offseason to San Francisco, and now from the Giants here to the Yankees.
And Aaron Boone has a pleasant problem when Aaron Judge returns from the disabled list. He'll have McCutchen, he's got Hicks, he's got Gardner, he'll have Judge and Stanton. We asked him that question and he said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do exactly, but it's a nice problem to have.
It certainly is, and it's something they will figure out, I'm sure. They love Brett Gardner's defense in left field in this ballpark. Rodriguez drops down a bunt. Sanchez will pounce on it. That'll advance the runner.
And Rodriguez will be credited with the sacrifice bunt, even though he was clearly bunting for a base hit here. Didn't get that ball down the third baseline as far as he needed to, away from the catcher Gary Sanchez. Aaron Boone said that he might have to talk to Andrew McCutchen at some point in time about playing left field, because when Aaron Judge comes back, he's going to be the right fielder.
Well, it has to be. That's where the judge's chambers is located.
That's right.
Can't move that.
That's a good point.
Griner swings and misses. Here it is, Judge's chambers.
Still packed, even though Aaron Judge has been on the disabled list for about 5 weeks now. They don't know when they're going to get him back. And when they do get him back, it's awfully tough to rehab injured players because the minor league season is over, so he can't go on a rehab assignment. You have to rely on simulated games or possibly instructional league if the Yankees have an instructional league team.
And Gardenhire will throw to first, and the runner holds. There are two gone. Coming up next on FS1, the Rays look to continue their surprising run when they take on Francisco Lindor and the Central Division leading Indians. It all happens right here on FS1. Stream it live in the Fox Sports app. Rays and Tribe coming up. Boy, Lindor can play, and the Rays certainly have been a surprise team this year.
71 victories for the Tampa Bay Rays. They've lost 63 and competing in the big boy division.
Bounce to third, foul off the bat of Jacoby Jones.
Most of the contact that has been made today against Tanaka has been to the left side of the field. Several flyouts to left field, several ground balls to the shortstop and the third baseman. Tanaka really changes speeds well. He gets you out on that front foot with that split finger changeup and also that slide piece. Fastballs usually up top strike zone. Try to get you to chase.
One ball, one strike on Jones. Tanaka, when he came over from Japan, signed to a 7-year deal. That was in January of 2014. And is signed through 2020 for the Yankees. Swing and a miss. 1-2 now on Jones.
Talking to Lloyd McClendon before the game today, the Tigers hitting coach, he said it would be a challenge, and for a lot of his younger hitters to make sure that they stayed off that splitter that Tanaka throws so frequently. He also throws that slider off the plate. When you've got a young roster, a young offense, you got to really talk to them before the game to make sure they can get some really good pitches to hit so they can have success.
Well, the Tigers trying to improve their runners in scoring position numbers, and it really has been an issue all season long. In this series, they're batting just 190 with men in scoring position, but the Yankees haven't been a whole lot better, and that's why they've split the first 2 games.
Yeah, most of the runs that have been scored in the first 2 games of the series have come via the home run ball. There's been 12 of those, 6 by the Tigers and 6 by the Yankees.
Again, the 1-2. Here's the other thing that has made this series so intriguing and so fun to watch. There have been 8 lead changes in the first 2 games already. It's really kind of been back and forth.
Very competitive games. Both managers have been kicked out. That happened last night. Good arms in the outfield, in center field and right field for the Yankees. McCutcheon and Hicks both have well above average arms. If you're thinking about a base hit in that direction, whether Nico Goodrum will score or not.
Low ball 2.
As a matter of fact, Hicks in center field has one of your stronger throwing arms from any position in baseball. Very talented player.
Neither team in this series has held a lead of more than 3 runs. The Tigers jumped out 3-0 last night before the Yankees came charging back with 3 home runs. 2-2 on Jacoby Jones. He'll stay alive.
Here's the pitch usage on Masahiro Tanaka so far today. We told you about that slider. Well, he's right at his average at 34%. The splitter just 31% today. The fastball 25%. It's got a lot of different pitches. Main 3 we've seen on display this afternoon. Hasn't changed the eye level here of Jacoby Jones as of yet. He hasn't gone upstairs with the fastball. Everything's been down to Jacoby.
8th pitch of the at-bat upcoming. And he got him. Strike 3. Caught him looking. Tigers get a leadoff single, strand a man. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. McCutcheon will lead it off. And here is Andrew McCutchen to lead things off here for the Yankees. In the 4th inning, McCutchen, Stanton, and Hicks.
Donaldson should help the Cleveland Indians if he's healthy. He's always been a really good performer. He's a good third baseman, and he can really swing that bat, but he's got to be healthy.
Well, if he's the Josh Donaldson of old, the Indians rather got themselves a really good piece, and really a piece I think they needed to add to that lineup to make them deeper.
Yeah, and when the Indians are going to win the division, so they're just getting ready for the stretch drive and getting as healthy as possible. And if Donaldson is healthy, he could probably help them out as a DH or something like that with Encarnacion playing first base.
McCutchen struck out in the 1st inning. Daniel Norris has been really sharp in his first start since late April when he landed on the DL. 9 up, 9 down with 5 strikeouts. Well, Menards brings you the big money encounter. How about a couple of former MVPs that are now wearing pinstripes?
And 2017 for Stanton, and McCutchen won his back in 2013 for the Pittsburgh Pirates. There was about a 5-year run there where Andrew McCutchen, playing center field for the Pittsburgh Pirates, was one of the best players in all of baseball. He was mentioned in the MVP conversation every single year. He's won a Gold Glove. He's won Silver Slugger awards as well. And there was a time where he could really run the bases. I mean, he used to steal a lot of bags.
Well, he did win the MVP back in 2013 for the Pirates. And a dynamic player that has done a lot. I don't know if you follow this guy on Twitter at all, but McCutchen is a funny guy, man. He has posted some videos about just about everyday life that are pretty entertaining. Now the 1-2 swing and a miss, and man, Daniel Norris continues to cruise. That is his 6th strikeout.
Daniel's stuff today is electric, and the reason why, a lot of first pitch strikes, and he's throwing a lot of fastballs. And when he's gotten ahead with that fastball, man, he's thrown some really good breaking pitches too. 86 right there to finish him off. Looked like a changeup there to finish off McCutchen. And Daniel Norris also doing a very nice job with the first pitch strike. 7 of 10 in that category.
Well, he hadn't been on a big league mound since April the 29th. Not really sure what to expect out of Norris today, but what we've seen so far has been pretty impressive. Giancarlo Stanton looks at a ball outside, 2-0.
The Detroit Tigers acquired Daniel Norris in July of 2015. They got him from the Toronto Blue Jays in the David Price deal.
Flared toward first. Ducey runs it down.
Alex Anthopoulos was the general manager of the Toronto Blue Jays at the time, and the Tigers weren't quite sure whether they were going to be sellers because they were kind of still in the hunt. And they had some really good players, Price being one. Alex Anthopoulos called David Dombrowski, and he told David, if you're thinking about trading David Price, I'd be willing to make a deal with you, and you can have any player in our minor league system, anybody. And David Dombrowski obviously chose Daniel Norris as the piece to start that deal for David Price.
Matthew Boyd coming over as well. Jairo Laporte, who is no longer in the system, part of that deal.
That's how badly Anthopoulos wanted David Price. And Price went over there and pitched very well down the stretch, didn't he?
He did. He pitched well for the Jays. They fell a bit short that year. But Norris, had he not been injured so much for the Tigers, probably would be much farther along in what we had expected to see out of Daniel.
Well, Ron Gardenhire was saying yesterday they've heard some great things about Daniel. He's finally healthy. He's a big part of the Tigers' future. They would like to see him get through September, and then they'd like to see him come to spring training, and he'll probably be in that rotation.
Pulled foul. 1-2 on Aaron Hicks. Hicks has power with 23 home runs.
He's a great high fastball hitter too, so be careful if you go up top.
You know, the Yankees this year have almost 51% of their runs scored via the long ball, which is by far the highest percentage in the major leagues. And 11 of their 14 runs in this series have come via the long ball. It's what they do.
Be careful up top. 314 is the average for Hicks on high fastballs. That's the second best average in Major League Baseball. Mario, when you look at this Yankees team, though, you would think that they would be able to score more runs in different ways. They've got good athletes in Torres. They've got Hicks is a really good athlete. Gardner's a very good athlete. Stanton was a 3-sport star when he was in high school. You would think they would manufacture a few more runs as a squad.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, you know, coming into the season, I always felt, and this is before we saw what Torres was going to become and what Andujar was going to become, I thought that maybe they would go into slumps because they were so power-oriented in the middle of their lineup. But those two guys are pretty dynamic, and I'd agree. You would think they would have more ways. Swing and a miss, and Daniel Norris has gone 1, 2, 3 for 4 consecutive innings. He's retired 12 in a row. He is on an absolute roll for the Tigers. A terrific day for baseball today. Tigers lead the Yankees 1-0, and the Tigers have Dawel Lugo leading things off here against Tanaka. And the rookie infielder looks at a strike called 0-1. He is 0 for 1 in this game. Lugo with 4 hits in his first 2 major league games, called up right before the start of this series. He'll roll one back up the middle. Torres will throw him out, 1 away.
Let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. Tanaka has been on point here today against Tigers bats. Lots of soft contact. You can see he's got movement on every last one of his pitches. He works all 4 quadrants of the strike zone, and he's also changing speeds very well. Gave up 3 singles to the first 3 batters and really have handcuffed the Tigers since then. Froze Jacoby Jones with a really nice strike at 93 last half inning.
Top of the order now. Here is Mikey Matuk, a single and a fly ball in this game. Matuk with a crooked look for Paul Nart, the home plate umpire.
Kind of surprised the Detroit Tigers haven't been more aggressive on some of these first pitch strikes that Tanaka has been throwing.
He's been pumping him in there all day.
He's 15 of 18, but yet very few Tigers have swung at the very first pitch, albeit some of those have been off-speed pitches, and most guys at this level, they're hunting the fastball on the 0-0 count.
Tanaka surrendered a first inning run, and that's it. Tanaka himself was on the DL earlier this year with hamstring issues, both hamstrings. They were minor, but it placed him on the DL for a while in June. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Matuk has gone 2 outs. Time for a game break now, and John Keating. Without a question, Keats, and really, Rod, in my 17 years of doing Tigers baseball, one of my favorite Tigers, just a tremendous person, Granderson.
One of the classiest men in baseball, really. It's wonderful what Curtis Granderson has been able to accomplish in his career, on and off the field.
Meanwhile, Gimenducci with 2 hits now, and 2-out single as Castellanos stands in.
Castellanos likes to swing at the first pitch. If he gets a first pitch strike from Masahiro Tanaka, more than likely Nicholas Castellanos will be swinging. The Yankees, they vacate the entire right side of the infield for Castellanos.
Single and a walk for the Tigers right fielder. Slow roller toward first base. Tanaka will cover and got it by half a step.
What a play by Luke Voigt.
That'll end the inning. No runs, 1 hit. Still 1-0 Tigers. Is brought to you by Bell Tire. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And it's Chevy Labor Day sales event. Drive out the summer in the new Chevrolet. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
A real nice play here by the Yankees to end the top half of the 5th inning. Luke Voigt comes off the bag, and Masahiro Tanaka on the ball hit to the right side of the infield. And he knows he's got one job to do, and that's to get to the bag before Castellanos. And he's able to do so. That was a nice play by Voigt.
Really good play all the way around. Tanaka immediately broke to the bag, and Voigt with a beautiful feed. Meanwhile, the developing story here is Daniel Norris. His first start since coming off the disabled list, hadn't been on a big league mound since April 29th, and he's retired 12 in a row to start the game.
When you start to see Daniel with those fastballs that are tailing up and away, that means he's prematurely opening up that front shoulder, which means that ball, the arm is never catching up.
First 3-ball count for Norris in this game. And there's ball 4. That'll be the first base runner of the ball game for the Yankees. We'll bring up Gary Sanchez. Took a while for the Yankees to get their offense going yesterday before they hit 3 home runs in the 6th inning. Tigers were cruising along with a 3-0 lead behind Jordan Zimmerman, and the Yankees struck quick. Sanchez this year, 42 hits, 28 of them are for extra bases. High towering fly ball to left. Deep to left center field. That ball to the track, to the wall, and caught. Matuk runs it down. Sanchez made a bid but falls short.
As many home runs that have been hit in this ballpark the last 2 days, I thought that this 91-mile-per-hour fastball, when hit by Sanchez, was going to leave the yard. It sounded like a home run, but Mikey Matuk, he ran back to the warning track, and then he had to readjust and come in a few steps. That ball just died as it got out there toward the 399 sign.
The body language of Daniel Norris looked like he thought it was gone too.
Yeah, he knows that sound.
Gleyber Torres. He struck out in the 3rd, make it the 2nd inning. It was the 3rd strikeout for Daniel on the afternoon. There's a drive into left field. That ball is hit well, going to the track, going to the wall, and that one is gone. Gleyber Torres with a 2-run shot, and his masterful rookie season continues. And that is the Yankees' first hit. It's going to bring Rick Anderson, the Tigers pitching coach, out.
It's a breaking ball at 84 miles an hour, down and in, and somehow, some way, Gleyber Torres gets down to get it, and he flips it out of the ballpark. He's got tremendous power, and he's not very big in stature. He hit a ball 440 feet here at Yankee Stadium just a little while back.
RBI 63, 64. Gleyber Torres, just like that, has given the Yankees the lead. That is the 9th lead change in the series.
And most of the lead changes have come on homers.
Yeah, they sure have. What is that, 13 homers now?
Correct.
Between the two squads.
That is the 222nd home run of the Yankees, which paces the major leagues.
Luke Voigt will bat now with 1 out, 2 runs in.
And Luke Voigt is really taking advantage of the playing time that he's getting with the Yankees. Last 10 games, batting over 400 with some power.
Voigt was acquired in a deal with the Cardinals in July. This is his second stint with the big club here with the Yankees. Homered in game 1 in the series. Swing and a foul tip, got a piece of it. The Yankees' first hit leaves the ballpark and they lead 2-1.
The Yankees' first hit in last night's game was a home run as well. It's a 2-run home run off the bat of Brett Gardner.
Well, here comes Doug Teeter now, the head athletic trainer for the Tigers. He has apparently noticed something, and Daniel Norris, of course, coming back from the groin surgery.
Wow, this is the last thing they wanted to see. It looks like Teeter's going to call for them to take him out of the game right away, judging by that body language of Daniel Norris.
I don't know if there was something on the delivery of the last pitch, the follow through maybe. You could tell Doug Teeter, he's not buying the explanation. He wants him to come out. Meanwhile, Drew Verhagen beginning to warm up in their bullpen, and Daniel Norris will indeed depart the scene.
It's too bad for the young man that has had to battle a lot of injuries since coming over from Toronto back in 2015, making his first start today since April.
More frustration for Daniel Norris. He was outstanding today, but he will leave and will be back.
You know, Daniel, when I talked to him, he said when he strained his groin for the first time a season ago, the fascia, which is that fibrous tissue right around the muscle, essentially that turned into consistency almost like a PVC pipe is the way that he described it. So that caused some blockage every time he went to fire and throw a pitch. He said it affected his strength, it affected his stride length, and obviously it affected his velocity. But of course, he worked hard over the last couple of months, the bulk of that rehab work being done down in Florida. He said that was some of the toughest times of his life, to be honest. And he said there were times through the rehab process, not just the physical grueling part of it, but mentally, where he also second-guessed that he might even be able to return and pitch again this season. Not only did he come back to pitch, Ron Gardenhire had enough faith in him to pencil him back in the starting rotation. He looked brilliant through the first handful of innings today, retiring the first 12, but now he leaves with an undisclosed injury. So we'll try to find out more, Mario.
All right, Mike, thanks very much, and we welcome in our FS1 viewers here. We're at Yankee Stadium, where the Yanks have taken a 2-1 lead here in the 5th inning, and the home run by Gleyber Torres, and also the exit of Daniel Norris with an apparent injury. And here's the wall-side windows pitching change now. Drew Verhagen.
And Verhagen has been pitching very well lately. You look at the overall earned run average at 506. It doesn't tell the whole story. He came back from an injury to the nose and has been spectacular out of the Tigers bullpen. Drew has a fastball that will get up to 95, 96. He's got a really good curveball, 12-6 breaking ball. Those are his two primary pitches. There's that curveball at 80 miles an hour.
3-2 is the count on Luke Voigt. He's batting with 1 out, 2 runs in. Lost in ball 4. Second walk in the inning for the Yankees. Not sure really how much frustration Daniel Norris can take, how much more frustration, because it has been a boatload of it the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's tough when you continue to do all that you can do to rehab and try to do the best to get yourself healthy, and for whatever reason, I mean, every little nagging injury just continues to prevent you from doing what you love to do, and that's playing the game of baseball at a high level.
Neil Walker skies one to left field. Mikey Mata going back to the track, circling. 2 outs. Walker retired, and Voigt retreats. We'll bring up Brett Gardner. Norris had retired 12 straight to start the game. Then he walked on Duhar here in the 5th. 1 out later, the homer, and then Norris left the game. And the very next hitter, Gardner, looks at ball 1. Brett Gardner has 254 stolen bases. That is 3rd all time for the Yankees. Only 2 guys ahead of him. That would be Derek Jeter and Ricky Henderson.
Yeah, Aaron Boone was discussing Brett Gardner before the game and the dilemma that he might have when he gets all of his players healthy again. He's been such a catalyst when batting against right-handers in that leadoff spot. He's batting 9th today, but he plays an exceptional left field. It's a big left field here at Yankee Stadium. It's almost the equivalent of playing center field, and he says Brett Gardner with his speed can really cover the left field ground.
He's been very busy this afternoon out in left field.
He's the longest tenured Yankee as well. He started his professional career back in 2005 with the Yankees.
Top of the order, waiting on deck, that is McCutchen. Gardner, patient as ever, has run the count to 2-1. In there, 2-2 on the number 9 hitter. Infield slightly to pull on Gardner, who fouls it back. He's got power to go with that speed. 12 homers this year. In fact, the Yankees, since the start of last season, are 25-3 when he homers. And And that included last night's win. And it's high and away. Now the count on Gardner goes full 3-2. It'll put Voit on the move with 2 outs at first base. Fouled off. We're at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx for Game 3 in this 4-game series. Tigers and the New York Yankees. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, Johnny Kane with you from Yankee Stadium on a terrific day. Chris Wasilewski, our producer. Michael Odino, our director today. Tigers in the midst of a 9-game road trip. That is outside ball 4, and Brett Gardner with a 2-out walk. Let's see, 3rd Yankee walk in this inning. MLB at Bat mobile app brings you every baseball moment to your favorite devices. Catch it all season long with free MLB.tv game of the day, in-game highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Well, here's McCutchen now with 2 outs.
Andrew looks a little different, all clean shaven, doesn't he?
I was about to say the same thing. It just doesn't look like it. No facial hair rule here with the Yankees. Oh, look out. That ball came up and into McCutchen.
And Verhagen is having a very difficult time of finding that consistent arm slot, which would allow him to throw the ball consistently over the plate. He's already walked a couple. And this fastball just appears to get away from him.
In his Yankees debut, McCutchen is fanned twice. Norris struck him out 2 times before departing.
Ooh.
Man, up and in again. And McCutchen is actually clipped. That's going to load the bases.
Yeah, Rick Anderson might have to go out and visit with Verhagen and tell him exactly what he's doing wrong.
Two walks to the hit batter, and here is Rick Anderson.
Rick Anderson is an outstanding pitching coach. When the season started, he was the bullpen coach, and Chris Bosio was handling the pitching staff. Rick Anderson spent 13 years with Ron Gardenhire in Minnesota as his pitching coach, so he's been doing it for a long time.
Well, the unenviable position of facing Giancarlo Stanton with the bases full here. The Yankees have gone ahead here in the 5th on a 2-run shot by Gleyber Torres.
85th consecutive game that Stanton has played in, because Judge has been on the disabled list. Gregorius has been on the disabled list. Aaron Boone has had to run his slugger out there every single day.
Aaron Boone was kind of joking around before the game saying, you know, we're trying to sell the fact that he's DHing, so that's kind of a half day off.
Right.
I'm not sure Stanton's buying.
Stanton also battling a little bit of a hamstring issue, so with the addition of McCutchen, he said he'll probably be able to get Stanton off his feet a couple of days in September.
Popped him up. Right side of the infield. Ducey is under it, and the threat is over. He'll get a couple of runs on the Torres home run. And you're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire.
Call Sam call of the game. Daniel Norris was no-hitting the Yankees for the first 4 frames here, but take a look at what he was doing in between some of the pitches he was throwing today. Just looked like he was just kind of stretching, not necessarily as comfortable as he needed to be on the mound. And finally, Doug Teeter, the head athletic trainer, noticed something, and he walked to the mound with Ron Gardenhire, and shortly after that, Daniel's start was over. They've called it left calf cramping. Try to say that fast.
No, you know what? I'm glad you did it because I want no part of that. Nicely done. There's a strike called on Victor Martinez here in the 6th. 2-1 now. The Yankees have their first lead of the afternoon. Martinez responsible for the Tigers' run, a sac fly in the first inning off Tanaka. There have been several instances in this series, right, where the Tigers have had opportunities to tack on. That was the case in the first inning as well. They had them loaded with nobody out, and they settled for 1.
Yeah, you like to score as many runs as you can, especially when the door was open the way that it was open for them against Tanaka here in the first frame. The only run they scored came off the bat of Victor Martinez. It was a sacrifice fly.
Oh, Victor Martinez now with a count of 2-1. Buck Farmer warming up in the Tigers bullpen. Tanaka, meanwhile, has pretty much been bobbing and weaving through the Tigers order. Gave up a walk, no damage in the 3rd, singles in the 4th and 5th. High towering fly ball to right. It's hooking though. That'll go foul. Two and 2 on Martinez. Goodrum and then Ronnie Rodriguez here in the 6th for Detroit as you look at Tanaka now at 65 total pitches.
Yeah, Tanaka's pitch count is in outstanding shape.
Well, the month of September is here. That means the final month of the career of Victor Martinez, who has mentioned that it's going to be it. It's been a very long and productive, illustrious career for V-Mart, who a couple of nights ago became the all-time leader in switch hitting RBIs in Tigers history. Again, the 2-2. Fly ball, center field, hit pretty well. Hicks going back, has room. 1 gone. And more college football action continues tonight on Fox as Nebraska opens their season against Akron. It all starts at 8 Eastern on Fox, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. One gone here in the 6th, and here is Nico Goodrum. He'll get back out of play as Sanduhar gives it a look. It's been a really good series for Goodrum. He's 1 for 2 today and now 6 hits in the first 3 games in this series. "15 home runs in his rookie season. You got to go back to 2003 for the last time a Tigers rookie hit that many. Craig Monroe and Eric Munson that year for the Tigers.
Here's our Xfinity high-speed pitch on Masahiro Tanaka. He has touched 93 here today, and he's gone as low as 76, and probably every velocity in between, and with a mixture of sliders, splitters, fastballs, curveballs, and changeups.
Polnard thought about it, didn't call it.
19 of 23 first pitch strikes today for Tanaka, which is exceptional.
2-2.
Only one 3-ball count the entire afternoon. That came back in the third when he walked Nicholas Castellanos.
Tanaka has won at least 12 games in each of his first 4 years with the Yankees. Slow roller back up the middle. It's going to be Torres, the shortstop, to throw him out, 2 away. That'll bring up Ronnie Rodriguez. Sack bunt in the 4th inning. Tigers got a runner to second with 1 out, but couldn't score him. Hammer to left field. Gardner is there. And Tanaka with a 1-2-3 6th inning.
Bank game summary. Not a lot of offense in this one so far. Tigers scored their lone run. Sack fly off the bat of Victor Martinez. And then the Yankees didn't get on the board. As a matter of fact, didn't get their first hit until the 5th inning. It came off the bat of Gleyber Torres, his 22nd round tripper of the year.
Norris leaving the game with a left calf cramp. The word we got from the Tigers clubhouse, and so the Tigers going back to the bullpen now. It's going to be Buck Farmer here in the bottom of the 6th in the wall side windows pitching change.
Buck Farmer checks in with a 4.88 earned run average. He's got a fastball that gets up to 95. He's got a breaking ball, and he's got a really good changeup. As a matter of fact, his changeup is the pitch that really allows him to dominate left-handed batters from time to time.
Farmer has been utilized a lot this year by Ron Gardenhire. In fact, Farmer leads all right-handed relievers with 56 1/3 innings pitched out of the bullpen. His first appearance in this series, though. Hicks takes the ball low, 2-1.
Farmer is holding left-handed batters to a 151 batting average. 151. Right-handers are hitting about 200 points higher against Buck. I'm sure that's some numbers that they'll address in the offseason. Not the ones against the lefties, but the ones against the right-handers.
Is there anything about his pitch repertoire that can be tweaked to improve those numbers against righties?
Well, he should start to throw that changeup to more right-handed batters. That changeup is such a plus pitch for Buck, but a lot of times right-handers are a little leery of throwing the changeup to the right-handed batter. But if you've got the great one like Buck does, it doesn't matter whether they're right-handed or left-handed.
Hicks rolls one to first base, and Ducey picks it up foul.
Here's that changeup that Buck features to the left-handers, and you can tell as soon as it gets toward home plate, it just fades away from the left-handed bat. And a lot of times you don't want to throw that to the right-hander because that ball where it ended up right there, that's the happy zone of the right-handed batter.
Yeah, that has been the issue with righties, throwing righties changeups, and likewise lefties, or the danger you run into at least. Hicks 0 for 2. Slice toward the left side of the infield, knocked down, and no play. Goodrum tried to backhand that ball, couldn't come up with it cleanly.
Hicks has really turned his career around in a Yankee uniform. I was talking to Ron Gardenhire just yesterday, and Ron Gardenhire said when he came to the big leagues with me back in 2013, he wasn't quite ready to be in the big leagues. But for whatever reason, high school players, it takes them a while before they grow up, and his power now here at Yankee Stadium really plays. And not only that, he's one of your better center fielders in the sport. He goes to the left and he goes to the right. And maybe only Jackie Bradley Jr. of the Boston Red Sox has a better throwing arm from center field than Aaron Hicks. It's amazing how he's turned his career around. I guess you'd call him a late bloomer.
I would say so. He spent 3 years in the big leagues with Minnesota, his final year. He had his best power numbers. That season he hit 11 home runs.
Ron Gardenhire said on that particular team he had in 2013, he didn't have a lot of veteran players. He didn't have a lot of players that could take Aaron Hicks under their wings and really teach him everyday big league life. But when he came to the Yankees a few years ago, they had a ton of those guys, and he's really flourished here. He started as a fourth outfielder. Now he's the everyday center fielder.
Miguel Andujar lines one to third right at Goodrum.
That's the one thing regarding the amateur draft, Mario, that you hear a lot of scouting directors talk about. Sometimes when you draft that high school player like a Nico Goodrum, who was a high school player, or Aaron Hicks, high school player, it takes them longer to evolve at the major league level, and you just can't give up on these kids. Minnesota gave up on both these young men right here. Ron Gardenhire also knew Nico Goodrum from Minnesota when he was managing there, and he brought him to Detroit with him.
Here is Gary Sanchez. The other thing I hear constantly as well is when you talk about guys that are drafted out of high school, many teams feel that they haven't gone to a college team where maybe they've been taught certain habits that they don't want them to learn.
That's a great point.
You know, they're different in professional baseball. So when you get them younger, you can turn them into players, the players you want them to be. But as you mentioned, it does take longer.
That's a great point. Most general managers feel like if they draft the kids from the really good college programs, those kids are much closer to realizing their dreams of playing in the major leagues. And if they've played really competitive baseball for 3 years in college, they feel like they've played against already a lot of really good talent, whereas in high school, you're not.
Inside, 2 balls and no strikes.
And we talked about the changeup for Farmer, and we talked about it being a really good pitch for him. But here's a situation where if he tries to throw a 2-0 fastball by Sanchez, more than likely Sanchez is going to get a pretty good swing at it. And as you mentioned earlier, a lot of his damage has been done extra base variety this season. I like that pitch. He threw him a changeup.
3-0 the count. Torres waiting on deck. Gary Sanchez, an all-star, a Silver Slugger Award winner last year. And a strike called. Ooh, Sanchez thought it was way inside. Farmer got the benefit there from Paul Nart.
Aaron Hicks on first base has 10 steals. He's been caught twice. And Buck Farmer wants to make sure he keeps his double play in order. He might want to throw over there one time just to make sure Hicks is not entertaining the thought of stealing second. It's a nice job by Buck. You want to keep your double play in order.
Farmer has had some issues with walks. 35 is the second most among major league relievers. Here's the 3-1. Rip foul. Well, we talked about this the other night, but I don't blame Phil Nevin for standing where he stands down at third base.
He's a smart man.
He is way out of the coaching box. And you've got guys like Stanton and Sanchez,
Judge,
Andujar. You got to protect yourself.
Might as well put on a chest protector or something. Does he look like The Rock or what?
He does.
He got a body like The Rock too. He was a 3-sport star in high school, Southern California.
Line drive right at third base, and Goodrum will throw across the diamond for a double play. Inning over, Nico Goodrum fielding the hot shot liner and doubling up Aaron Hicks.
The dish, of course, he's one of the young players featured on this Tigers roster. Today is the first day of roster expansion, but not too many moves made by the Detroit Tigers. They did bring up Sandy Baez, promoted him from Double-A Erie, and also, of course, Daniel Norris was reinstated from the 60-day disabled list. But the reasoning behind it is the fact that the Toledo Mud Hens right now are in the thick of a race themselves. So just 3 games remain in the regular season down in AAA. So Ron Gardenhire and the brass here with the Tigers decided they want to allow guys like Christian Stewart and some of these other younger arms to finish out their season in AAA before they promote them to the big league club, Mario.
And we'll see how far that goes for Toledo in terms of when some of the other arms and probably Kristen Stewart will get to Detroit, one of their top prospects. Yankees had some guys called up as well. Luis Sessa was called up along with Stephen Tarpley, Tyler Wade, and of course a couple of guys joined the team today from the DL, and that would be Sanchez, and then of course the McCutcheon deal.
If the Tigers were in contention, there's no doubt they would have brought up more players regardless of what the Toledo Mud Hens were doing at their level.
There's a fair ball down the right field line, going to go to the corner. McCutcheon will dig it up. Griner is on his way to second, diving in with a leadoff double. Tigers had the tying run in scoring position now with nobody out. Here's how Ram picked the stick update today, and not a whole lot going on with the Tigers bat so far.
Yeah, Masahiro Tanaka has a little something to say about the bat so far today. It's a good at bat there by Griner. And now Jacoby Jones has a job to do. Runner on second base, nobody out. You've got to make sure you make an effort in trying to get Griner over to third base by hitting something to the right side of the diamond.
Tanaka had retired 9 of 10 prior to the two-base hit here in the 7th.
And if you're not comfortable hitting something to the right side of the diamond, Jacoby is a dead pull hitter, then maybe you ought to think about bunting the baseball to get Griner over to third base. But you've got to get him over there. Tanaka has been awfully stingy. You want to increase your chances in the scoring a run here in the 7th frame.
2-0. Tanaka wanted that one, didn't get it.
Tanaka hasn't fallen behind many Detroit Tigers this afternoon.
Jones a strikeout and a flyout. Jacoby lines one to center field. It's going to drop. Base hit. Griner will go to third base. Jones in with a single, and the Tigers in business now with 2 on, nobody out.
That was a really patient at bat by a young player in Jacoby Jones, laying off the first 2 pitches and forcing Tanaka into coming over the heart of the dish. And he hit a frozen rope to center field. Aaron Hicks, very aggressive initially, thought he was going to catch it, but thought better of it. Played on one hop.
Here is how stingy Tanaka has been. That is the first Tiger to get to third base since the first inning of this game, when they loaded him up with nobody out and scored a run. Here's Dowell Lugo. Runner goes. Throw down to second is not in time. Stolen base for Jacoby Jones.
And Jacoby, one of the young players that has a green light, he picked the right pitch to run on. It was a breaking ball. And Sanchez with really quick feet and a really nice release, but not before Jacoby Jones sliding in safely.
10th stolen base for Jones on the year. Flared toward right field. McCutcheon, long run. It's going to be a foul ball. Lugo almost cued one down that right field line. That would have scored 2. Sanchez out to the mound, a quick visit. That'll be the mound visit charged to the Yankees here in the 7th.
And you saw Lugo trying to go towards second base with a ground ball. That would get you an RBI. That would also get the runner on second base over to third base. You want to go in this direction with a ground ball. That gets him over here, and that scores Griner on a ground ball. So 2 for the price of 1, if you can do it.
Lugo is 0 for 2. Down in Toledo this year, the Tigers AAA affiliate, he knocked in 59 runs. He was one of the primary players back in the J.D. Martinez deal last year.
How about J.D. Martinez of the Boston Red Sox? He might just win a Most Valuable Player award this year.
Certainly one of the front runners. Lugo shoots one on the ground to first. They'll tag the back for the out. Runners will hold. Voigt records the out of Lugo. One gone. Hey, we're going back to college with Nissan. A couple of LSU Tigers that are current Detroit Tigers. Mikey Matuk, Jacoby Jones both went to LSU.
Good program. It's a lot of big league players in the majors currently that went to LSU.
Matuk 344 in his career. Down in Baton Rouge, and now Mikey stands in with 2 on and 1 out. Single and 3 at bats for Matuk. Ball 1.
Yeah, Mikey Matuk has spent the majority of the season in the minor leagues after spending just about every day in the big leagues last year for the Tigers. And Tigers are rebuilding like so many teams in Major League Baseball, and they've been taking a long look at a lot of younger players that have been on their roster, and that means Mikey Matuk's had to spend a lot of time in AAA.
Two and 0. Tanaka now has not been as efficient at throwing the ball over the plate here in the 7th.
And Tigers have been a little bit more patient against Tanaka.
He is at the 86 marker in pitches thrown. Swing and a miss. 2 and 1.
One thing about Tanaka, with runners in scoring position, he's never ever going to give in to the strike zone. He is going to continue to throw those sliders and that split fingered fastball until you start swinging at it. He'll never give in.
Yankees have action. Holder is throwing in their bullpen. We saw him earlier in the series, Jonathan Holder. Tanaka in 22 starts this year has gone over 100 pitches only 3 times. Strike called on Matuk at 95 miles an hour, right at the outer edge.
That is the hardest pitch that Tanaka has thrown all afternoon.
We threaded it too.
He reached back to get a little extra on that one too. You could tell. I think Mikey's going to have to lay off that split fingered fastball or that slider.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. 2 gone.
And the previous pitch was a 95-mile-per-hour fastball. And then he comes back with that 89-mile-per-hour split-fingered change. You can see it in the glove. And it's just tailing down and in on Mikey Matuk. He threw that one harder than he's thrown most of them today. Had a really nice look at the glove at how he grips that splitter.
5 strikeouts now for Tanaka. Here is Adusi, who produced a 2-out 2-run triple last night to help the Tigers take an early lead. He's up there again with 2 outs. And Adusi will ground one fouled at first base. Tigers today 0 for 5 with a runner on third base. This has been an area where they've needed to improve. As you see, Tanaka now has gone to 90 total. Second mound visit of the inning as Sanchez rolls out to the hill. Hey, manage your dream team in franchise mode. Plus, get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available right now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone.
It's a nice visit by Sanchez. Adusi came into play today batting a cool 667 against Tanaka. Only 2 for 3, but he's already gotten 2 hits today. Now you got the base open, and you've got a guy that sees you pretty good, and then you got Nicholas Castellanos in the on-deck circle. So he has to make a decision right here.
Swing and a miss. 0-2 now on Adusi. Here comes the Yankees crowd.
And meanwhile, the numbers for Nicholas Castellanos are under 200 against Tanaka.
Here's the 0-2. Low, ball 1.
It's a nice block by the catcher Sanchez. If you call for that fastball, that split changeup, you know you have to get down and block it, and that's exactly what he was able to do.
Adusi this year bats .321 with 2 outs. That is the best on the Tigers team. He's trying to deliver here in a 2-1 ball game. Now the 1-2. Line foul out of play.
Another one of those 95-mile-per-hour fastballs right down the middle.
There is Castellanos, the Tigers' best hitter, waiting on deck. Tanaka threw 98 pitches in his last outing against Chicago. He's at 93 right now. Low, ball 2. Adusi a single in the first, a single in the 5th. Yankees have only 2 hits in this game, yet they lead 2-1.
They didn't get many hits last night either.
No.
As you mentioned, it's all or nothing with the Yankees.
Now the 2-2 offering. Low, ball 3 on Adusi, and he has rolled the count full now with 2 outs.
If you're Adusi, you pretty much know that you're not going to get another fastball here from Masahiro Tanaka, but you cannot think that way in the batter's box. You have to think that it's going to be a fastball and then make any adjustments to the off-speed stuff that you need to make. Only the second 3-ball count of the game for Tanaka. The other one way back in the 3rd.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
You knew he was going to get that splitter.
Tanaka pitches around a jam here in the 7th. 6 punch-outs. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch. where the Yankees have a 2-1 lead over the Tigers. Daniel Norris was outstanding right at the start of this ball game. Retired 12 in a row, then all of a sudden had to leave with an injury.
Yeah, left calf injury is what he left with today. We thought it might have been that groin that he had surgically repaired back in April, but that was not the case. So I guess that's good news. Meanwhile, Tanaka's been awfully good as well. 7 hits, 7 innings pitched. He hasn't walked but 1, and he has 6 punch-outs.
Meanwhile, tonight the college football action continues on FS1 out west. The University of Texas at San Antonio facing off with Arizona State. Catch all the action at 10 Eastern on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app.
Herm Edwards, the new football coach out at Arizona State.
Starting a brand new tradition there, hopeful there in the desert. Here it's been a tight one, 2-1. Tanaka just pitched out of a big-time jam. Buck Farmer going back to the hill. It'll be Gleyber Torres, Luke Voigt, and Neil Walker. Farmer gave up a single, no damage in the 6th. Tigers trying to get multiple innings out of Farmer now. Gleyber Torres right now responsible for the Yankees lead, a 2-run shot in the 5th. It was the final batter that Norris would face. Ball 1.
Yeah, the Yankees also acquired Danny Echeverria from the Pittsburgh Pirates.
The 1-0.
And with that acquisition, Mario, that allows Aaron Boone to put Gleyber Torres back at second base if he wants to and play Echeverria at times at the shortstop position. Echeverria probably will play tomorrow against Matthew Boyd. It also gives him an option to every now and then put Echeverria at third base late in games for Miguel Andujar. Time for the DTE Energy Know Your Own Power, and the rookie Gleyber Torres has a lot of that. His 22nd round tripper of the season, and second only to his teammate Miguel Andujar.
Now the 2-1.
But you just wonder, and I ask you this because the Tigers had a situation with Nicholas Castellanos the last couple of years where he was their starting third baseman. We would always get taken out of games as a defensive replacement, and it affected Nicholas Castellanos. I wonder if Miguel Andujar, and they've got Echeverria, and he takes him out of games late as a defensive replacement often, whether he'll be affected by that or not.
Well, he may, and I know Nick admitted that it bothered him, but I think Andujar right now in his first year in the major leagues probably not going to put up much of a beef. Whether or not it affects him remains to be seen, but the bottom line is if you're the manager, you've got to play your best defensive team out there at the end of games.
Echeverria is a wonderful defender. I mean, he is an outstanding defender.
2-2 on Gleyber Torres. Swing and a miss, and Farmer strikes him out. 1 gone in the 7th.
And we were talking last half inning about Buck and how he can get better against right-handers. Well, this is the pitch that will allow him to get better. You see the grip in the glove. That's the changeup. You can see it right there. And he comes out, and it's a fading changeup down and in, located beautifully to the right-hander. I think as he increases that usage to righties, his numbers will go down as far as the damage righties have done against him this year.
Here is Luke Voigt. Isn't that incumbent, though, on the catcher to call for a few more of those?
Yeah, I think so. And apparently they are doing that. Grayson Greiner's called for quite a few of them. One fastball in here.
Strike out and a walk for Voigt. Verhagen came onto the Tigers bullpen when Norris left in the 5th and Farmer in the 6th, and now Farmer's still here in the 7th. There is action now. Daniel stumped the lefty and Victor Alcantara the righty. Two and two on Voigt. Well, the Yankees came in. Right now their bullpen is very quiet. The Yankees came in trailing the Boston Red Sox by 7.5. Now they still have 6 more to go against the Red Sox. 3 at home, 3 on the road to close the year. 3 on the road. As they get healthier, Rod, we talked to Aaron Boone about this before the game. I mean, they're concentrating on their own house right now, but I mean, there aren't many people right now that feel the East is done. But they will have an opportunity.
Yeah, they play the Boston Red Sox 6 more times before the season's over. A home and road series.
Did he go? Did not. It'll be a walk for Luke Voigt.
It's going to be difficult to catch the Boston Red Sox as well as they've been playing with that offense. The Boston are one of the best teams in baseball.
It's going to be it for Farmer. Tigers going to the bullpen with Neil Walker coming up. Farmer departs and will be back in a 2-1 ball game. Be on FS1 and Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy triumphs the Motor City. And by Wellside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. Back here in the Bronx where the Yankees lead the Tigers here 2-1. Game 3 in this series. Daniel Stumpf is in now as Neil Walker stands in. And Walker looks at a strike from Stumpf. Here are the numbers in the Wallside Windows pitching change.
And Daniel Stumpf has pitched some really good baseball since coming back up from the minor leagues. As a matter of fact, in 5 games since coming back, he has not given up a run.
He really seems like a different guy as well. He had struggled earlier this year in so many different areas, but he has attacked. He's had good velocity on his fastball. He's been good.
Fastball's gotten back up to 95 since he's come back up from the minors. Neil Walker batting just 182 right-handed. That's why Ron Gardenhire turned him around to this side. And he also has much more power when batting left-handed. 9 home runs total for Walker. 8 of those have come batting left-handed. So it was a natural move to summon the left-hander out of the bullpen for Neil.
Oh, 2 on Walker with the pinch runner Tyler Wade at first base. Pulled foul. That'll ricochet around the Tiger dugout. Security get hit?
Not security.
Apparently so. Runner goes. Fouled back. Oh, it missed her. She's probably a little bit dazed. That's it.
Come on, Francisco Liriano. You've got to protect that young lady.
I didn't want to say it. Didn't even move.
I called him out. She's going to go to a different spot now.
Like, man, I ain't get in front of that.
She's like, give me the baseball. It almost hit me. I want the ball now. She learned how to throw a changeup or what?
Apparently.
Curveball, what? What was that, Zimmerman?
Yeah.
Teaching her how to throw that changeup?
Well, she's got a souvenir for her troubles.
You know, one of our members of our broadcast team, and I'm not going to mention any names, but forgot their credentials today. We were on the way to the ballpark. You know how tough it is here to get credentials.
Oh, yes, it is.
But they took care of him.
Nice.
They got him in a timely manner, and it was no issues whatsoever. This is the last place you want to forget your credentials.
Said member has the initials Johnny Kane.
Now, why? Rod's on a roll. First Liriano, now me. Nobody's safe. You're just tossing people under at every turn. No, it worked out okay. But I will say, I actually just became friends with the security guy out in left center field.
Really?
My first one. My first one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we got that going for us.
So you guys were battling the other day. Now you're buddies.
Well, a different guy.
Oh, a different guy. Okay. All right.
But always got to keep that badge out, especially here.
Runner goes again. Here's the throw down to second. Bouncing in. Wade is safe. Bull rolled away from Ronnie Rodriguez. Not far enough, though.
That's a great jump by Wade. And really nothing Ronnie could do. He had to come out in front of the bag to make sure he keep that ball in front of him. And he gets flipped by Wade, who slides in head first.
He had 11 stolen bases down at AAA, and he's got one now in the big leagues. Here in the 7th. The 1-2. Pulled foul. Brett Gardner waiting on deck. Yankees trying to add to their 2-1 lead here in the 7th.
9th pitch of the at-bat from Stumpf to Walker.
This time line to right field foul.
There's that mid-90s fastball from the left side.
Neil Walker had 9 straight seasons of 10 or more home runs. Hit a lot of them with the Pirates. 7 seasons in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he and Andrew McCutchen played together for 6 of those seasons in Pittsburgh, the newly acquired Andrew McCutchen.
Slow roller right side of the infield. Stumpf got a cover and out at first base. Walker hustling down the line is nipped at the wire. Moved the runner to third now with 2 outs.
It's a nice job here by Jim Adduci, who doesn't play a whole lot of first base, and also Daniel Stump, knowing he's got to get over. Take a look at Adduci. Once he gets this ball in his glove, he's going to run a couple of steps over. Watch it. Now he's going to take off, run a couple of steps over to make sure he can give Daniel a really firm feed, which helps him in getting that right foot on the bag before Walker. If he'd have tried to flip that ball, Mario, from where he was standing initially, it would have been too far to flip it, and more than likely, Walker would have been safe. And it's also a play where a lot of first basemen don't like to throw it overhand because they don't want to hit that pitcher on the run. It's much more accurately to do it underneath the way he did it.
And really, when you look at the guys, the Tigers have run out at first base since Cabrera went on the disabled list. I think Adduci has probably acquitted himself as well as any of them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And Jim Adduci is taking full advantage of the opportunities that he's getting in the major leagues. Tigers are rebuilding. He's a journeyman outfielder, infielder that hit well in AAA, and he's hit well now in the majors.
Gardner takes outside, 2-0. Again, 95 from Daniel Stump. Big run here for the Yankees. They lead by 1. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Runner at third and 2 outs. Gardner, a strikeout and a walk.
And Gardner hitting about 246 against left-handers this year.
In there, a strike called the very top of the strike zone. Gardner didn't like it. 2-2.
Yeah, that was a breaking ball that caught the upper reaches of the strike zone. Not nearly as much beefing going on with the home plate umpire today as it was last night with Nick Lentz, who was the home plate umpire. He's down at third today.
And proof of that is both managers are still in the game. Swing and a miss, and Daniel Stump dusting Brett Gardner to end the inning. No runs. They get a walk, a steal, get a man to third, but Daniel Stump takes care of Brett Gardner to end the inning. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. Back here in the Bronx as we go to the 8th, the Tigers will have Castellanos, Martinez, and Goodrum in a 2-1 ball game. New York on top in this one. And Jonathan Holder has come out of the bullpen now for the Yankees. So Tanaka done after 7, and Castellanos looks at ball 1.
And Tigers saw Holder the other day. And he's pitching in his 51st game this year with a really good ERA at 3.18. He doesn't walk very many, only 13 of those this year, and he's punched out 54. The Yankees have a lot of options in their bullpen, and they've used just about every last one of them the last couple of days.
Tyler Wade stays in the game. He'll play second. Neil Walker will go to first.
Neil Walker, jack of all trades. He's played second, third, second, and right field already in this series.
The 2-0. Back up the middle into center field. Right through the shift. A leadoff single for Castellanos.
Just like we promised, it's time for the Miller Lite to hold true moment. And we had a little fun with the police officer in the Tigers dugout. She's down there to protect the boys, but it turned out they needed to protect her. And then when it was all said and done, she got the baseball, and then she got some pitching tips too. So teaching her how to hold it. That's wonderful.
Pretty good. James McCann. And she is just A-OK down there, so no problem. That ball was coming in hot, too.
It sure was.
Here is Victor Martinez, 0 for 2 with an RBI. And Holder throws the strike. Mentioned the Tigers have seen a lot of the bullpen of the Yankees in this series. They have gotten to the Yankees pen in 7 2/3 innings. They've scored 5 runs against them.
And it's a good pen, too.
Albeit a pen right now without Aroldis Chapman, who is still on the disabled list. Chopper to the right side of the infield. They'll fire to second one, and the relay is going to be a double play. It'll go 4-6-3. 2 gone. Fans, enhance your next game day experience with MLB's Ballpark app. Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. It's a rather lengthy backhanded shovel there by Wade, but he knew the runner at first. Martinez did not run well.
Great point. He knew he had time. Otherwise, he doesn't throw that ball the way that he threw it over there. He would have thrown it to overhand. Had the runner on first had more speed. I mean, he's 25 feet away from Gleyber Torres, and Torres just takes it and flips it over. See, that's the one thing about the game of baseball that has really changed. And Nicholas Castellanos got close enough to Gleyber Torres where he could have taken him out. Old school baseball, but nowadays you just don't see guys going all that aggressively into second base.
Yeah, that is frowned upon these days.
I mean, Gleyber really didn't even try to get out of the way. He just stood there and flipped it to first base.
1 for 3 for Nico Goodrum. Up top, dusted him, and the inning is over. No runs, a hit, nobody left. Holder strikes out Nico Goodrum, and we go to the bottom of the 8th.
Our BP Brighter pitcher, and for that, we look at the man coming to the plate right now, the newest Yankee, Andrew McCutchen. Of course, here in New York, they have the no-shave policy, and we haven't seen Andrew McCutchen without facial hair in years. So he said he wasn't so much concerned about it, but he was concerned with how his 9-month-old would react. So he has a 9-month-old little boy named Steele. He said when he got out his razor and his clippers, he picked up Steele and held him throughout the process just so he wouldn't cry. He said he got to the end of it, Steele put his hands all over his face, stared at him for about 5 minutes, seemed to be okay with it. So there you go. Now the biggest thing for Andrew, he said, is he's got to get it to blend in a little bit more, so he's going to need some more time in the sun. more day games.
Well, here is McCutchen in the bottom of the 8th. He'll roll one to third, scooped up there by Goodrum, and McCutchen out by half a step.
McCutchen's got the wrong uniform on for day games. He should have had the Tigers uniform on. Tigers have played a lot of day games, and they will play another one tomorrow.
62nd day game of the year for the Tigers. Here is Victor Alcantara. He is the new Tigers right-hander.
The Tigers have to be really pleased with what Alcantara has been able to do in the 18 games prior to this outing. A 2.95 ERA for the rookie. He throws hard. Fastball gets up to 95. He's got a small frame, but he's got a nice breaking pitch. And he's got some hesitation in his delivery, some deception, which sometimes fools the hitters.
Stanton was up there in a big spot in the 5th. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and he popped up.
He got jammed on the first pitch.
Giancarlo is 0 for 3 today for the Yankees.
But he has done his fair share of damage over the years. No one in baseball hits the ball any harder than Giancarlo Stanton.
Dylan Betances is trying to shake off his outing in Game 1 in this series, tuning up.
Yeah, the Tigers tacked a loss on him.
2 balls, 1 strike. Rodriguez, Griner, Jones 2 up. They've got Candelario and McCann on the bench, along with Reyes. The 2-1. Ooh, swung out of his shoes there. 2-2.
Anytime you can throw an off-speed pitch in a fastball count to a dangerous hitter like Stanton, and you may as well do it. It was just a beautiful pitch by the rookie Alcantara.
Got him, strike 3 in the outside corner, and Stanton walks back to the bench with an 0 for 4 tonight.
How about that swing back fastball at 94 miles an hour? He got back in the count with a 2-1 pitch to change up.
Wow.
And then he comes back with 94 and he threads the needle on the outside black. Nice glove work as well by the big catcher, Grayson Griner, who is the biggest catcher in the majors. He stands 6 feet 5 inches.
Ball 1 to Hicks.
For as big as Grayson Griner is, he really has no difficulty giving the pitchers a real low target. He's got a big body, but he gets it down there.
You could tell Griner concentrates on getting as low as he can.
Yeah, he takes that left knee and just sits it on the ground, and that just kind of helps as he bends his back to get that ball down in the strike zone. Just 2 measly hits today for the Yankees.
Two balls, 1 strike on Hicks. Well, 1 of the 2 hits for the Yankees left the ballpark. The 2-run shot by Gleyber Torres, and that right now is the difference in the game. The only other hit the Yankees have, a single by Hicks to lead off the 6th. Three and 1 on Aaron Hicks with Miguel Andujar waiting on deck. That'll be ball 4. It'll be a 2-out runner. Hicks aboard. Well, what's going on tomorrow here? The upcoming matchup presented by Wallside Windows here at Yankee Stadium. It's Matthew Boyd and Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn got off to a horrible start with the Minnesota Twins. He picked it up enough to warrant the Yankees trading for him at the deadline. And since he's put on the Yankees uniform, he's been really good. He will throw his fastball tomorrow afternoon about 75% of the time. It's one of the highest percentages of any right-hander in baseball. Lots of four-seamers from Lance Lynn.
Now on Duhar. This Tigers club has shown that they are pretty adept at hitting the fastball too.
Yeah, they don't miss fastballs. And the guys like Tanaka are the kinds of pitchers that give the Tigers a little trouble. The guys that don't really give you a whole lot of fastballs to hit, but throw mostly breaking balls in fastball counts.
Walk and a run scored for Miguel Andujar. Here's the 1-0. Sawed him off and a roller toward third. Goodrum bobbles and has no play. Andujar is aboard on an error by Nico Goodrum.
Just closed the glove too soon.
That'll keep the inning going now and bring out Rick Anderson. E5 on that play, charged to Goodrum. All of a sudden the Yankees have something brewing now with 2 outs. Really calm demeanor of Rick Anderson. That is just the way he does business. He's always operated that way. A calming influence on this Tiger staff.
He's done nice work since taking over the lead role of the pitching staff. When the season began, he was the bullpen coach for Ron Gardenhire. He and Ron Gardenhire are best friends. As a matter of fact, when Ron Gardenhire started managing back in the Mets organization in AAA, it was Rick Anderson was his pitching coach then. So they go way back. They go way back.
Been a while. A long while. They're back together again.
They got some secrets on one another, just like I got some secrets on you.
And you will never tell them. Ever. Here is Sanchez.
Just keep them checks coming every month.
One ball to no strikes. Gary Sanchez, his return from the disabled list, is producing an 0 for 3 day.
It's a big spot right here for Victor Alcantara. You could not let Sanchez get loose here. He should have been out of the inning. It should be a 1-run game. You got to make sure it's still a 1-run game when you get your guys back in the dugout.
Grounded toward third, foul. Sanchez, a power threat to be sure. Hit one deep to left field his second time up. 33 homers last year. Cole has joined Betances.
And Cole up tossing lightly just in case. Well, I should say in case Sanchez hits one out of the ballpark. They won't need Betances.
1-2. Gary Sanchez, a couple of years ago, finishing second in the Rookie of the Year voting to the Tigers' Michael Fulmer. That was the 2016 campaign.
He didn't come to the big leagues until probably, May or June.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that thought that he should have won the award over Michael Fulmer, but I think the voters got it right.
He probably does win that award had he gotten to the big leagues sooner or broke camp with the Yankees.
He was hitting a home run every other day and when he burst on the scene as a rookie 2 years ago.
Ground ball left side. It's going to be Goodrum. They'll get the force at second to retire the side, and the threat is over. So Dellin Betances is coming on and protect a 1-run lead. All right, guys, here we go in the top of the ninth inning. Tigers last call now. They're facing Dellin Betances.
Betances has a power arm. His fastball can get all the way up to 100 miles an hour, and he also has a wipeout slider. There's that slider at 83.
Jamer Candelario is pinch hitting for Ronnie Rodriguez.
99 strikeouts for Dellin Betances. 2.59 ERA, 99 strikeouts in 55 games.
He needs one more strikeout to become the first pitcher in history with at least 100 Ks in relief 5 straight years. Nobody's done that.
Isn't that crazy?
It's really crazy.
He's also on a current streak right now where he has struck out at least one batter in 35 consecutive games, and no other pitcher in the American League has ever done that. So Dellin Betances is awfully special. They've got Brian Britton at the back end of that bullpen. They've got Aroldis Chapman when he comes off the disabled list in the back end of that pen. They've got Robertson in the back of that pen. A lot of guys that have closed games for a long time in the big leagues.
And there's the 100th strikeout for Betances.
First reliever to ever strike out 100 batters in 5 consecutive seasons. That would be Mr. Dellin Betances.
Here is Grayson Griner now with 1 out. He'll look at a strike. Well, the Tigers stunned Betances, who was on quite a run. He had a 35-game stretch where his ERA was about .050. And the Tigers got him in game 1 in this series for 2 homers. 0-2 on Griner. Ball 1 high. Betances getting opportunities to close out games with Aroldis Chapman on the disabled list. 2-2 now on Griner. Griner waiting on a 2-2 from Betances. Slow roller toward first base. Betances covers for the out, and there are 2 gone. Tigers now their last chance. Jacoby Jones. And we'll get a meeting on the mound as Sanchez rolls out there. And now it looks like the trainer coming out as well. Betances may have done something covering first base. Oh no, it's his fingers. They've said he's had some issues with some bleeding in his fingers.
Had some blister problems.
That is not a mound visit. It's waved off by Paul Nart. No issues covering first.
Not gonna fit, and you're not gonna miss first base with them big old shoes. It'd be hard to miss first, right?
Just get in the area. Here is Jones now. That ball back up the middle into center field, and the Tigers have a 2-out single from Jones.
It's the second hit of the day for Jacoby. Jacoby also has stolen a base in the game, his 10th of the season.
It'll keep it going now for Dawel Lugo, the tying run at first base.
Expect Jacoby Jones to steal second base. Betances, and when he's been on the mound this year, there's been 12 stolen bases against him. So Jacoby may as well run. You never want to make the last out at second base, but he is very deliberate in throwing that ball home. Jacoby could very easily get himself in the scoring position with a really good jump. Good lead, good jump.
Runner goes. That is fouled back out of play. Now it's 0-2. Dawel Lugo, the final chance for the Tigers. Bouncing ball right side, ranging left. Torres is in time for the out.
They might look at that.
And the Yankees win game 3 in the series. Let's see, the Tigers are asking to perhaps look at this. And now they've waved it off. So the Yankees, behind a 2-run homer from Gleyber Torres, will win this ball game by a score of 2-1. And here's how close it was. Bang bang at first. Another 1-run game for the Tigers. 2-1 your final score. And for those of you watching on FS1, we now take you to Cleveland for the Rays-Indians matchup.